Good morning, everybody. I'm Chuck. It's Crusoe with Simply Vegas Realty. Today, I want to give you an update on the housing market here in Las Vegas. Today is May 24th, and it's about 100 degrees today. It's actually getting pretty hot out here as summer is hitting us actually pretty hard. But I want to talk about what's going on in the housing market right now here in the Las Vegas Valley. Okay, right now we actually have a total of 5,035 properties currently available for sale, and that's only single-family residents only. Okay, now 4,741 properties are actually private sales, which is about 94% of the market. What are private sales? Private sales are where people actually have equity in their home and they're actually selling for a gain. Now, we also have 194 properties currently available, and these ones that are available are actually short sales, which is about 4% of the marketplace right now. We have actually 100 bank-owned properties, which is about 2% of the market. But I do want to go back to the short sales. The average days on the short sale right now is probably about 120 days. The reason why it's taking so long before an offer is accepted, because the majority of your population right now that's looking to buy a home, they literally want to move into a home within 45 days or sooner of a fully executed contract. Okay, if we take a look at the overall market right now, including condos, townhomes, single-family residence, we're sitting about 6,300 homes that are currently available. 94% are private sales, 3.5% are short sales, 1.9% are actually bank-owned properties. Now, the average days on the market right now, let me go back to month supply. We actually have about 2 months worth of supply at this time. So the rate that we are selling homes and also the inventory, within 60 days, we will have nothing that is currently available, okay? Right now, we are selling an average about 3,000 homes a month. We were initially selling about 2,500 homes a month. Now we're at almost 3,000 homes a month at this time. What I noticed is that price reductions actually increased to 9.7%. So out of the 6,300 homes that are currently available, or properties that are currently available, about 10% of those homes, the sellers are actually doing a price reduction. And the reason why is because the market is so hot right now, especially homes that are at 300,000 and less, they're selling like hotcakes. So what's happening is, majority of your buyers at that price point are looking for a cheap payment, and including the household income at 51,000, majority of your buyers are looking at that price point. So it's really forcing the appreciation up. Okay, that's what's really pushing the housing market up in that sector. Now, what's happening is the sellers are not paying the buyers closing costs. They're getting everything that they want. So what they're trying to do is maximize the sales price. So what they'll do is they'll list their property just a little bit higher than the appraised value, and they're trying to squeeze every dollar out of that home. But some of these sellers are listing the property way too high. So what's happening is they're starting to realize that they're not getting any offers, because the average days on the market right now for a single family residence is about 14 days. So what's happening is they are doing a price reduction. Also, what plays a factor into this as well is you have agents out there that are just getting into the business, and they are preaching to the sellers that they can get a lot more than what their home is worth, and they're preaching and giving them the world. And one of their sales tactics is basically telling the seller what they want to hear, so that way they can obtain the listing. Now, once they get the listing, if they don't have any offers, then they can go back to the seller and beat them up and show the seller with the data, hey, you're not getting any offers, so I would advise you to drop the price. At this point, the seller is fully invested as far as listing the property, signing an agreement. Next thing you know, they're getting beat up by the listing agent. That's a tactic that I'm not happy with. So when I go on a listing appointment, you really just want to tell the sellers exactly what's really going on with the housing market. I'm not saying that's the case on every single deal, but from my experience, being in the business for now going on 9 years, that's what tends to happen, believe it or not. Okay, now if we take a look at, for single family residents, the closing I'm sorry, not the closing ratio, but the financing consideration. So what this means is, out of all the properties that are currently on the market right now for single family residents, okay, 100% of them will all accept cash. That's great. Now, 97.6% will accept conventional financing. So if you're a conventional finance, if you're financing conventional, you're going to have a 97% chance of looking at all the properties that are currently on the market. Now, FHA is only about 60%. So out of 5,000 homes, you're only going to be able to get to take a look at probably about 4,000 homes, because not all homes qualify for FHA financing, and VA is actually 63.8%. And the reason why this number is a little bit higher is because on a VA buyer, your max cap is 415,500 at this time. So you actually have a bigger a cap as far as what you can actually be approved for, versus in the FHA at 287,500. So that's definitely gonna hurt you right there. Now, if you are looking to do an owner will carry, and what a owner will carry is basically where the owner will finance a deal where you don't need a bank, and they'll carry the note for a certain period of time, okay? And this is where you agree based upon when the balloon payment is due, and also what the interest rate is going to be. That's only less than 1.2% of the market. And a lease option, there's only 32 properties that will accept lease options, less than a half a point current market. Now let's take a look at the closing ratio, because now we talked about properties, what they'll consider as far as for financing. But most importantly, if we take a look, 21.6% are cash closings, okay? Conventional, 43.6%. FHA is 25%. VA is 9%. Even though that there are more homes qualified for VA buyers out there, only 9% of the buyers are VA and are actually closing, and that's what their success rate is. 25% are FHA, again, and conventional is at 43.6%. Now, so what this means is that if you are a conventional buyer, and also if you are a FHA buyer, you're still able to beat out a cash buyer. And a lot of cash buyers in today's market are under the impression, if I'm paying cash, can I get a great deal? Unfortunately, you can't, because here's why. Okay, number one, it's you can submit an offer to a seller at fair market value, but then you can actually have another buyer that's FHA or even VA conventional can submit an offer but is willing to pay $3,000 more. But with a cash buyer, you can close a lot quicker, but you have to put yourself in the seller's position at this time. Now, if you can wait out another week to make $5,000, then it would definitely be worth it for you to wait. And that's what sellers are doing. And that's the reason why conventional and VA buyers, conventional FHA buyers are actually beating out cash buyers. The only thing that's benefit for a cash buyer in today's market is you don't have to order the appraisal and you can close quickly, and the contingencies, there's really not that many, okay? Now also, last week we closed about 656 properties. That's for single family residents only. That's the last 7 days. Now the average list price is at $250,000. The sales price is $249,894. So that's the median price point today, as of today. Price per square foot right now averages about 137. The average days on the market for a single family resident is 14 days. Nowadays, when I'm showing properties to my client, believe it or not, we're having multiple cards on a property. I'll go in, we'll see cards that day, probably about 8 to 15 cards, okay? By the time I get back to the office, there's probably already 2 or 3 offers written on that property. You have to understand that the median price point right now is $250,000 and less, okay? When you're shopping around that price point, it's going to be very aggressive at this time. So if you are in the marketplace, expect it to be writing multiple offers on property. So just don't set your hopes on one property. Townhomes right now, the average list price is $180,000. The average sales is $177,000 and $125 a square foot at an average 9 days on the market. Believe it or not, these things are moving like hotcakes, okay? Now, the reason why it's moving a lot faster is because a lot of people can't get into the single family residence. They're having a hard time getting their offer accepted. They're moving to the second best thing, which is townhomes. Okay, moving on to condos. The average list price right now for a condo is at $105,000. The average sales for a condo right now is $105,000 at $105 a square foot. Average days on the market right now is actually 10 days. So these things are actually moving quickly. Okay, so if you are in a market, you definitely need an agent that is very aggressive in today's market, and that actually has techniques and strategies to actually get your offer accepted. Also, looking at the rental market right now for single family residents, right now we have about 1,230 rentals currently available, which is about 55% of market share. So what I mean by that, it's if you include townhomes, triplexes, duplexes, high-rises, condos, manufactured homes, majority of the rentals will be single-family residents. That's a big desire in today's market. The average supply right now is only 1 month's supply. Properties, we're leasing about almost 2,200 properties every single month. But if we take a look at the median single-family residence, okay, for just the rentals alone, the average for a 3-bedroom, 1,800 square feet will actually lease out for $1,400 a month, an average of 80 cents a square foot. The average days is 11 days. But if we take a look and compare renters compared to buyers, it's about 33%. So 66% right now are actually buyers. 33% are actually renters out there. And I get this question asked a lot: should I rent or should I buy? Well, it just really comes down to a couple things, and this is how you should analyze your current situation. Number one is how much you can afford, what your comfort level is as far as your payment. Now, once you get that, okay, now you should be able to determine where you feel comfortable and where do you want to buy, and see if it's even worth it at that time, because you may want to buy in Henderson. You want a payment for $1,600 a month, but it's $285,000 that you're qualified for. But do those properties exist in that market? It may not. Now, also, you want to see within that market or that location, what are the current rentals at this time? Then now, if your rentals are higher than what your mortgage payment is going to be, then yes, I would actually consider buying versus renting. Okay. Now, if your rents are lower, then that answers your question. Then you should probably rent at this time. Now, guys, that's all I have for today. If you are just getting into the market and you want to just start looking at homes to see what's currently available, visit lvhomeexperts.com. You'll be able to log in, sign in, set up your own home search. It's a great website just to get started to see what's currently available out there. But other than that, thanks for tuning in. I'm Chuck Crusoe with Simply Vegas, and have a great day.